Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's video I'd like to look at how MTPredictor did on the ES yesterday, which was Thursday, October the 30th. And if we look at the 3-minute chart here, you can see that the market opened here. We actually got one trade set up. The setup was a TS3 Buy setup. That was in the direction of our STF color, which is blue stroke black, and as you can see that actually gave a buy signal on the very bar of the low of the day. So if I place the analysis off on the chart, you can see this would be a very good place to be buying, pretty much on the bar. Well, it is the bar of the low of the day. Standard trade management guidelines would have said to come up to the first target for a 2.1 hour profit. Remember, we use correct position sizing to vary the number of lots, contracts or shares to keep the initial risk small under control, and our profits are therefore represented as a function of our initial risk. That's what we call risk to reward. So here the profit was approximately just over twice or 2.1 times greater than the initial risk. However, this was just with our standard trade management guidelines. For the more experienced users, let's just clear this off and see what the more experienced eye would have seen from this. We normally go to our higher time frame chart to do our more advanced analysis. So if I go to this, we'll go back to the last prior pivot low, which was here. This was before the day opened, and place that on there. And as you can see, there was a support zone here. If I place another DP off this low, you can see that we didn't even come anywhere close to this because the market was rallying up. But the most important point was to take a DP off this high here, because remember, this was the decline going down into the low the day before. So if we place a DP off here, you can see the market actually rallied up to that level. I'll just take that one off because that's not relevant. From an Elliott wave perspective, if I do Elliott wave intermediate on this prior rally up, you can see that we're going into wave 5 high, and this correction down to the previous day as low here was pretty much at the prior wave 4. You can see there's the prior wave 4, and that was pretty much a double bottom with that low. We didn't quite make it to the DP off there, but that was the level there. But what was very interesting was the rally going up here, because this move here was the initial move off the low. We then had an initial correction, and if I do Elliott wave intermediate, you can see that this actually came down into what was a wave 2 or B. The market then rallied, but most importantly, I'll just take that last bit of analysis off. But more importantly, as the market rallied up here, just look how this unfolded. If I do Elliott wave intermediate now, you can see this unfolded as a wave 3, but just look where the high of the day was yesterday, right at that typical wave 3 WPT. Now this might have been hard to anticipate at the time, but what you would have been able to anticipate at the time was this DP. This DP would have been on the chart in advance, so even as the market was starting to rally up, you would have had this level up here as a level where you might anticipate the market to find resistance. As you can see, it did find resistance there. That's the beauty of these DPs. They're on the chart in advance before the market gets there. Again, I want to show you where I took that DP off. It was off the previous high here, and there it would have been on your chart in advance. So let's see what this looks like on the 3-minute chart. So here we go on the 3-minute chart. We know that this DP here, the market didn't quite make support at that, and the low the previous day, as I've already discussed, was at pretty much the wave 4, or the same level as the wave 4 on the 15-minute chart. So this rally up here, even though it looks a bit choppy, would have been a wave 1. We come down here, this correction here is a wave 2. If we place the analysis on, we then anticipate the market to go up in a strong wave 3 kind of swing, or at the very least you'd know that this 15-minute decision point was up here. So rather than look to come out of the first target, you could say, well, actually I want to play for the next resistance level up, which is up here. As you can see, we can grab and drag our risk reward levels to make it very easy to see what the risk reward is at different levels. So you could have said, well, actually I want to take it up to this level. As it gets up into here, you might say, well, hang on a second, the STF is getting strong, perhaps I'll just trail with the ATR stop. Or, if you're very experienced, as I've already shown, you'd have a look at the Elliott wave patterns. Now, the Elliott wave patterns on an intermediate degree on a 15-minute chart are the same as the Elliott wave patterns on a major degree on a 3-minute chart. So if I do right mouse click at the high here, do Elliott wave major, can you see how this found the the major swings. In fact, actually what I'll do is I'll just put the major swings on so you can actually see this a little bit easier. I'll just get indicators, I'll come down to our indicators here, and I'll come up and I'll just display the major swings. There's the major swings. I'll just put those to true and put them on so you can see it a little bit better. In fact, I'll make the major swings just a little bit thicker. Where are we? There's the major swings. I'll just make those just a little bit thicker like that so we can just see the major swings. So if I now clear that off, can you see how now this initial rally up here, even though it appears to unfold as like an ABC on a smaller degree, on the major degree it's just one swing up, one swing down into this low, which is our TS3 buy setup, and then one swing up here. But just look where the high of the day was, right at the typical wave 3 WPT. It does amaze me sometimes the way these markets do reverse at these levels. Remember, these DPs and WPTs are all my unique clusters of Elliott wave ratios, Fibonacci ratios based on prior swings. So as you can see, knowing this was a strong swing coming up here into the wave 3, as you were approaching this higher time frame DP, you could have then wanted to actually run the trade a little bit more. And once you got up into this level, you might want to say that's enough, and I want to try and take profit. Perhaps start trailing just at the bar lows when you actually hit that level. So that would have then produced a good profit. But even if you hadn't have seen that, I'll just clear everything off. Even if you hadn't have seen that and you'd just simply taken the TS3 buy setup at the low of the day, then said, well, actually, this 15-minute DP up here is a level where I know resistance is anticipated, therefore I'm going to look to run my trade up into that level, perhaps using the ATR stop as a protection, then at least you would have got a very nice profitable trade there. So I just wanted to show this as a good example of how to use some of the more advanced tools in the MTPredictor software program. Remember, I don't encourage people just purely and simply just taking the trade setups in isolation. These trade setups are there to make you think about how does that trade setup fit in with the large degree trend, how does it fit in with the large degree support and resistance levels. That's why we make it easy to place these levels on the chart. We make it easy to adjust your risk reward so you can evaluate the trade at these different levels, and as such be able to manage your trade accordingly. But either way, a very, very good trade here, which basically had you long off the very bar of the low of the day yesterday, with a possibility of being able to manage that trade and run the trade to take advantage of that rally coming out for a very nice profitable trade of approximately 4.9 5R profit up into the higher time frame DP resistance.